Welcome guys to another episode on the Extra Mile. My name is Alex and I'm here with another comparison episode between Project Cars 2 and Assetto Corsa. And we are sitting here in the lovely Porsche GT3 RS, 500 horsepower, 1.4 tons, quite an awesome car. And yeah, we will see how close we can get to the real life lap time. I have found one lap which I will link in the description to a lap of Spa with this car, and that was done in 2 minutes 40 seconds. 2 minutes 40.1 I believe was the exact time. Now we do not know what tires were used for this lap. We will use semi-slick tires or the most aggressive tire we can find here in the setup menu for Project Cars 2, and we will use the most aggressive and softest tire in Assetto Corsa 2, and we will see what happens. Let's check out the tire options. We have the Pirelli tires again. We will go with the Trofeo R compound, and again we will use the softest tire in Project Cars 2, and we will see how that works. Anyway, let's give this a go. Okay, so let's take a look around in the cockpit so we can compare it. Pretty much every detail that you need is here. The rear looks a little bit simplified because there are not that many people who will look at that. Lovely GT3 RS logo there. Alright, so let's do this. Oh, it sounds pretty good. Lots of grip. The guy got to about 230 kilometers as we did just now. The top speed here on the straight was 257, if I believe. So let's see how close we can get to that. Pretty much exactly the same. Oh, beautiful turn-in. The car is very well balanced. No understeer whatsoever. And we're still warming up the tires, of course. So again, 2 minutes 40 seconds is the time to beat. Which should be possible because we are using the Trofeo R tires here. And I would assume that the car in the video used a less aggressive compound. And lots of grip, even in second gear. I've seen that in the video as well. Even here, exiting La Source, very tight right-hander, we have no slip whatsoever. Reaching the same top speed as the driver in the video did. Oh, the car feels very good. Get to the apex and to the other one and to the third one. Very controllable. Tiny bit of oversteer there. this will be our final lap. Lots of grip again, accelerating out of corners. Cutting it close here. Alright, so far so good. .257 was his top speed. Almost reaching that. Bit of a slide there. Oh, lovely. No understeer whatsoever. Alright, and here we are. That was certainly not a perfect lap, but it will do as a baseline. Let's see how the car feels during oversteer. Engine sound is well done, I think. Still not even close to the sensation that you get in a real car, but it certainly is not bad. Okay, this is always a nice corner for drifting. Let's see what we can do here. Yes, that worked. Second gear's a bit too slow for this one. Let's try some high speed drifting. I can feel the rear tires fighting for grip there. Yes. Oh yes, big one. All right. So let's check out the lap time. To remind you, 2 minutes 40.1 was the real one, and our fastest lap was 2 minutes 38.8, which is pretty damn close. Considering that we had the Trofeo R tires, I think that is reasonable. Maybe still a tad too quick, but it's pretty damn close, I would say. Just a second off, or 1.3 seconds to be exact, is not that bad. And yeah, considering the sliding and drifting, that was a bit difficult to do in this car. You could get away with some lower drift angles, that felt pretty good, but when you got into the big angles, it felt a bit hard to control. But this is a GT3 RS, a pretty uncompromising setup with Trofeo R tires, so it definitely should not be easy to drift this car. So I can't really say if that is realistic or unrealistic, but in terms of the lap time, I think that was pretty good. So let's see how Assetto Corsa does. We will find out if the lap time is close there. I will adjust the tire pressure on Assetto Corsa to the same values we had here, a 2 bar at the fronts and 2.3 at the rears. So yeah, let's see how that will work, guys. So here we are on Assetto Corsa in the lovely Porsche. At first glance, the Assetto Corsa interior looks the same in the front, but when you look back there, you can see the GT3 RS logo again, but it's just a little bit more detailed. In Project Cars 2, they save a bit of performance by saving a few pulleys back there, but that's okay. I guess not many people look back there, and the product of that is that it runs a bit better in VR. Oh, we only have one tire compound, which is Hypercar Road. Now that's a bit tricky. I'm not sure how close this tire is to the Trofeo R, but it's a hypercar tire, so well, we will see. In terms of tire pressure, the car in Project Cars 2 had this setting, 29 psi at the front and 33 psi at the rear, so we will duplicate that, and that's about it. So we hit 238 roughly here on the straight, and it's almost the same here. Ooh, okay. Ah, yes. Ooh. A bit more sliding, but the tires are still cold. We hit 257 in the video, in the real life video. Not quite that speed here, but we could have braked a bit late. Again, very neutral handling, no oversteer or understeer, or at least no understeer. We had some oversteer already, but it feels very good, and it feels actually very similar to the car in Project Cars 2 in the way that it's balanced. Handbrake a tiny bit later. Struggling a bit for grip here. Okay, tires should have warmed up by now. Oh yes, this feels very good. There's something that Assetto Corsa does at the limit in weighting the steering wheel that feels very good. 257, and we hit it on the nose, just like the real car did. Hitting the apex, sliding a lot actually. The car feels excellent here as well, I gotta say as well, because they both felt very similar. Great turn and great balance. Okay, now let's go for the fast one. Oh no, this was good. Lots of grip. .238 was our target, and we hit that almost on the nose. And 257 was the top speed in the real lap. here. And we hit that as well. A bit of oversteer on turn-in. Again, good grip. There we have that turn-in oversteer again, which is probably not unrealistic. We get to the apex. There we go. Very nice. The car feels really good. The car is more stable under braking. The Project Cars 2 car was a lot more nervous, which was not very realistic, I think. This car has ABS. It should not move around so much under braking. Ah, this is fun. It feels a bit more controllable here in Assetto Corsa. Let's go for the big one. Oh, we used way too much road. Ah, but it was good fun. Nice little slide. So both of the cars are not really drift cars. Both of the cars are not really easy to handle during oversteer. You can drift them. Whoa! I'm happy we have lots of road here. You can drift them, but it's not as easy as drifting with an M3 or something. What I am noticing is the rotation is a bit more subtle and controllable here in Assetto Corsa. In Project Cars 2 the car tended to over-rotate. That feels very, very good. Oh, this is fun. Okay, let's before we go into the box or in the pit lane and compare the lap times, I want to remark on one thing. Both cars feel very, very similar, and there are very tiny little differences in the handling. In some corners I felt like this car stepped out a bit easier in second gear, had a bit less grip. In others it was pretty much identical. When we exited La Source, for example, the tight right-hander just before you blast down to a Rouge, that felt very similar. You could apply almost all power in second gear almost immediately just by rolling on the throttle a little bit to make it a bit more soft. You got tons of grip. Turn in and the overall car balance feels exactly the same. Straight line performance, obviously that one is relatively easy, but that felt pretty much the same as well. Overall, the cars felt a lot more similar than there were differences. Really surprised. It's really cool to see that Sims as they get closer to reality, the performance of the cars in the Sims gets closer together. Really cool. So now I'm really excited to see the lap times. Wow! 2 minutes 39.4, which is within half a second of the Project Cars 2 lap. I suspect that the Trofeo R tires that we used in Project Cars 2 were a bit more grippy than the Hypercar Road tires here. I suppose Hypercar Road here is the Michelin Sport Cup 2 tire, which is more a P0 kind of semi-slick and not as aggressive and as soft as the Trofeo R, so that would explain that difference. Very close together and very close to the real world lap time as well. So that's a pretty cool and interesting test. Yeah, I'm surprised by that. We will do more testing and more comparisons with real world lap times. I thought this was pretty cool. Both cars drove very well. If I had to pick a winner, so to speak, I honestly couldn't. They were so similar that I could not pick a winner on the driving alone. I thought the engine sound, as usual, was a bit more throaty in Project Cars 2, but this one was really very good as well. Both cars still can go a bit further in terms of engine sound. We are still far away from the sensation that you get in the real car, but both are pretty good. Visuals are more or less identical, at least here in this part. In that part, the Project Cars 2 car lagged a bit, but I can understand that because of, you know, performance reasons, that they focus their polygons on this part here. Yeah, pretty much head to head. The whole comparison is pretty much head to head. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.